A scientific HQ has been found.
Interesting. What in the world are you doing, Black Magic? Don't do this. This is garbage. Okay. I mean, okay, I'm going a bit over the top here, but what he's doing, he's going for steel and aluminum. Okay, maybe. But why I'm saying this is awful, you have steel starting half price, you have iron starting double price. Take advantage of that. Go into a triangle here of mines. You get your aluminum a bit faster. Well, a lot faster. You're almost getting twice as much aluminum doing that. You get to cash in on the iron. You don't spend the extra cash to put down the steel mills. It's just so much faster of a start. And you're robbing any potential expansive or robotic players of that extra iron money. Take advantage of this random price. Pay attention to that. Anyway, that's something like I really like doing, I guess. And maybe I over exaggerated some points, but
A scientific HQ has been founded.
it is a thing. This found. I mean, Black Magic definitely picked up a good found. He has good iron, he has some water. He needs slant drilling, but he can make that work. Phil. He has good carbon. But, ooh, water is going to be pain. I mean, maybe before John Galt founded, there was decent water to work with there, but this is going to be an awkward found for Phil. He only has the carbon and the aluminum to work with, really. There's no silicon or water nearby. He's going to have to ship those. And I'm always very concerned about having to ship things very long distances. So even though this is really strong carbon, I might honestly prefer a found up there. Even, I don't know, it's just such a barren wasteland. There's iron and ice, but aluminum's pretty far off. And silicon, what is the deal with silicon? Okay, it's all in that corner. I don't know. Black Magic definitely is the best found, and probably by quite a bit. I hate this found. I hate this found. I don't think I need to get into why. But I guess I'll throw in a short description. I hate this found for many of the same reasons I am not overly fond of Phil's found. It's, if you're gonna go expansive up here. There's as much stuff to work with, and I don't know. It's not a very good set of stuff to work with. As a scientist, I mean, okay. Oh no, never mind. This is just awful. I mean, the one way this is excusable, you have steel starting half price, maybe you think you can get away with not having steel early, but no, steel always is going to rise. Well, pretty much always is going to rise. You can't really survive without steel most of the time, unless you see multiple people making lots of steel. As the scientist here, having to ship steel is really the worst of all worlds. I think, for me as a scientist, I am more willing to ship literally anything else. It's not steel. It's too important. Anyway, Phil goes after that high water way across the map. I mean, again, I understand the reasoning, but want to secure some water, and there's not many choices, especially since the scientists up down on that one. I do okay, that's probably a fine choice. I was thinking maybe you take that Y instead of these. And maybe that is the better decision. And this might be slightly farther, but you get better water out of it. I was gonna say that this might be... well, no. There are no nukes. I should stop thinking about that. But yeah, I don't really like the water choice at all because, well, two things. One, life support is kind of middling. It'll keep rising, but it's really not a huge concern right now. And the other thing is you have two scientists with water access. You know they're going to be producing life support. So these prices might not actually rise all that much. Life support might actually be pretty weak for most of the mid portion of the game. In contrast, you have this glass price starting doubled. You have no one really with good access to silicon. This is about as far as the water is. You take this high silicon, you go into glass, you take a nice advantage there. Or you go into 2 chems. Well, you can still go into 2 chems. Let's see what you do with your last 2 claims. Geo is definitely not a good choice. I mean, that's kind of a harsh way to put it, but yes, power is rising pretty quickly. It is a power colony, and I think you did talk about how you end up making some power money, but your opponents are going to be consuming pretty large amounts of power for quite a while. They're going to have their own problems getting into power. I think by doing this, well, you'll start producing power when it's not that expensive yet, and then you're kind of keeping the price somewhat depressed for the rest of the players. In the meantime, you're consuming a lot of fuel shipping this. You're not making quite that much, like, you're not paying off much debt at the moment. And now you're also stuck with 1 claim with no real good use. Ooh, this glass shortage. So yeah, those are all reasons why this is a mistake. Normally, the large cost of the geo is a mistake, makes it a mistake as well, but you do have so much extra carbon from this. Yeah, right now you're just sitting there dead because you can't get into glass. Just too expensive, you're not making money yet. And it's just really awkward. I think you skip this water, I think you take the silicon, go into glass, or you take... I don't love the water. Again, I explained that, but even if you take the water, go into chems. Like something like that. You need to be making money at this point. It's not the worst choice, yes, but it's just something that's very slow to pay off, that could be delayed a bit and still pay off, I think. What is... okay, Black Magic's going to 1 geo of his own. Yeah, going to the 2nd geo, I guess once you've gone into the 1st geo, that's the only play that makes sense. And that's also good now. Yeah, but we see how slow this play is being. You still have no glass, and you're only going to be getting into it, like, shortly. Meanwhile, Black Magic has been HQ3 for quite a while, and he's a scientist. And he's moving into triple glass. That is super aggressive. Did he pick up the high silicon? No. So there's no silicon production. He's unsupported glass. That's gonna be fine for a while. Silicon, there's a large enough price differential, and no one has enough money to really drive a wedge in there to hurt him for doing that. And also Anderson, M.A. Anderson, has been overproducing steel for a while. John Galt's been overproducing steel for a while because they're both doing silly things that aren't getting them upgraded, so they're making a lot of steel. They have no money to get glass, so they're both kind of stuck at HQ2 selling steel. That's really benefiting Black Magic. What is this single farm about? Okay, that was with the claim you bought.
The black market is open for business.
I mean, fine. You're about to upgrade. It's not going to be a huge deal, I guess. Are you 2 farms. Fine. Two chems, fine. Yeah, this HQ is fine, what you're doing. I think at this point the ship of glass being really good and the obvious move has sailed. Black magic is kind of taken over that market, and it's probably just too late to counter it effectively. This freezes. I mean, it gets something done, but it doesn't get a whole lot done. So yeah, I feel like the geo play was just very slow, and it not capitalizing on glass or chems, it really put you behind black magic a lot at this point. We'll speed things up a bit. Because if there's a game, if this becomes a game later on, then, well, we'll have to see how that happens. Black magic, going into that, whatever. This is really awkward territory. I understand why it's awkward, but don't love it. Don't like that he never really... What he's doing is probably fine at this point. Although I'd really look at getting out of glass soon if I were him. What are you doing grabbing this?
Let's get our science on.
That's just a straight up mistake from black magic, grabbing the wrong silicon.
The black market is open for business.
Okay.
Caught a dirty rat trying to break our stuff.
You talked about getting teleportation. That's probably the right move with those two really far off tiles, and you're gonna need to get more water. So yeah, it's something you needed to do. And there's probably... And knowing that you failed to get it means that life is difficult. Ooh, black magic's grabbing teleportation. Yeah. Not gooning the patent lab was definitely something that cost you here. I mean, goons are pretty expensive. You are struggling for cash. So I kind of get that. And then again, there are two scientists in patent labs that are going to want to compete with you, so getting attacked like that is pretty much expected. This is just all weird stuff going on with the other two. He has picked up carbon scrubbing, nanotech, and superconductor. I don't know why those were his priorities, but they were. And that's all I can really say about that. Because, I mean, I can understand why thinking machines isn't really valued too highly for newer players. Its value isn't that readily apparent most of the time. But newer players tend to love teleportation, so I don't understand why that was skipped over. I don't know. Okay, black magic doing his little run on you to make sure you defend yourself. At this point, no, it's probably fine what you're doing. There's a part of me that would be tempted to sell out a bit of my own stock and just take the upgrade. After, you know that black magic's no longer going to kill you. Selling out of one bit of stock gets you the upgrade, lets you move forward, but sitting in your stock's also fine. Ooh, that early Offworld. Yeah, I think, a lot of this game just comes down to the HQ2 plays. By this point, black magic has a huge lead on you, you are the same HQ level, but he has a lot more cash. He has the Offworld established. He has slant drilling. He does have slant drilling, right? Yeah, and teleportation. So he's just in an extremely strong position as a scientist. As a scavenger, you need to be ahead at this point. There's no good way to attack and catch up to the scientist, I think. There is one thing in your favor, which is you're going to be getting thinking machines, but you're going to struggle a bit to get to the Offworlds. It's... Yeah, Urin's saying that because we only have these power surges and dynamites, early Offworlds are especially good. And yeah, that's probably true, though. As I've learned, sometimes scientists don't really care about popping goons with power surges, and that really hurts when you're not a scientist. In this case, power surges are pretty expensive already. People have been using a lot of black market early, so... Black Magic not defending this was... Or he probably did defend it, and then... Let's see... No, he just didn't defend his Offworld. Okay. Sure. I guess the idea was he thinks he's going to get thinking machines before that really becomes relevant, so maybe he can get away with it, but he's wrong. These chems are pretty bad at this point. Never moved into glass, which is a bit of a mistake. I think this third quarry was a mistake. Like, finish out a triangle of something here. Probably glass. Yeah. Glass continues to be just the big issue this game. How much water did you commit to? Just 2 tiles? That's great. Perfect. Please don't go into more. Go into some life support. Go into some glass. Get out of chems.
Shut them down. Shut them all down. Available to the highest bidder.
But yeah. Generally you're set up pretty well.
So,
You have access to the right resources. You might want to get water engine, honestly. Water engine and then upgrade fuel, or either get water engine and upgrade water a bunch, or just upgrade fuel a bunch. Cause that is pretty painful. Somewhere in the nature of 2.5 fuel a second consumed on average. Yeah, you're continuing to produce way too much carbon. I think you sold some,
how could one
maybe?
refuse such a
I don't know.
wonderful plot of land?
Yeah, just little tile use issues, but
Scientific HQ.
you're just well behind after the Geo play on HQ2, and there's no good way to catch up without your opponents helping you. Instead, they did weird things that don't help anyone, and they're both just irrelevant and they're gonna die. So we'll just fast forward through the rest of this game because there's not much more to talk about.
New land is available for kindly dispense. How come refuse such a plot of land?
Yeah. You were the only real threat this game. Black Magic could identify that. He could focus on you a bit. He didn't use too much. Well, okay, he used plenty on you. But let's actually see the timing of that. He was busy buying lots of claims early, whereas you couldn't really afford to do that because you didn't have any money early. 6 power surges. Oh, he actually attacked M.A. Anderson a lot early. So that wasn't actually a huge problem. Yeah. That little claim differential in HQ2, I think, is really what we take away from this game.